Welcome. So, we've all had these moments, at some point in our life, probably more than one. Is this moment the end? Are things falling apart? Is my world shattering? Or is it a new chapter? Is it a new moment? In the space between many things, in the space between, there's incredible power. So thresholds, the turning from one chapter of life into another, those thresholds contain tremendous power if we know how to trust, relax, tune in, be receptive to intuitive guidance, and move forward skillfully and not push. So let's unpack this a little bit. At this time in the world, at the time of this recording, there have been some big happenings. The United States had its presidential election. Some are unsurprised, some are very surprised, some are very, very upset, some are very, very excited. In Germany, the government is very much struggling. Some would say it's fallen. And these are not the only two countries, but these are two major countries and major trading partners around the world. So what's going on with these two countries can definitely affect the economies and the life experiences for other countries. This is a large example, but let's go into our own personal lives, your personal life. A breakup, a diagnosis, an illness that's not clearing up really quickly, a pain in the body that doesn't seem to be healing, like an injury from working out or an injury unexpectedly from stepping off a curb. The death of a loved one. So many different moments that can really bring up old tension and trauma that hasn't been digested or not digested fully. There's more layers of it. And it's an opportunity, but it doesn't always look like that. You see, if we haven't been resourced, if we haven't had the awareness of a way to look at change, where change is actually an opportunity, then we can go to our old familiar programming. Something's wrong, something's missing, oh no. And our thoughts can move in the direction of catastrophizing, awfulizing, projecting that the future is going to be terrible. And here's the thing. The future is actually unknown. The future is actually unknown. And we are actually co-creating the future with all the creative powers and elements of life, collaboratively. I've watched this in my own life. At this recording, I'm getting near to 53 years old, on paper at least. And I've seen some experiences. There are some of you watching who've got a lot more life experience and also have seen a lot more cycles of life. In my experience, what I continue to see is that my inner state is a combination of the thoughts that I feed, the emotional energy, and the level of ease or tension in my system, just to keep it really simple. That forms my inner state. And my inner state, yours too, determines what I can see, what I don't see, and how I take a perspective on what I'm perceiving. Let's take a couple of deep breaths, because that is a very simple, powerful way to expand our perspective and come from a more resourced point of view. So let's take 3 deep breaths. So you're going to inhale as deeply as you can without strain, filling the full capacity of the lungs. And then as you exhale, exhale slowly and have the feeling, just imagine it, that as you're exhaling, you're letting go throughout the whole body as though you're setting down a heavy burden. You know what it feels like. You can remember carrying a suitcase up the stairs from the airport and setting it down, or a heavy bag of groceries, or whatever. So just take a deep breath in now. Hold the breath for a few moments. Now exhale slowly and have the feeling like you're setting down a heavy burden throughout your whole body. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale deeply. Let go on the exhale. One more inhale deeply. Let go on the exhale. If you've been following my YouTube videos or my other teachings, you know that the 2 main things I talk about to give ourselves support, energetic support for clarity, to take a wider perspective, for accessing intuition about the best way forward for everybody, the 2 main things I talk about over and over and over again, because they work, are relaxing the body, softening the body, like you're opening imaginary fists with just your mind, and how you're breathing is how you're living. So, if you're having a difficult experience of the moment, examine how you're breathing. Are you breathing fully? If not, breathe more fully. And with that, here's tip number 3, in addition to softening the body and breathing, is your spinal position. Elongate the spine. If you're crunched over, you're reducing the flow of energy and information and nutrients in the form of electricity, the creative power of life, through the nerves, through the body. So of course it's going to be difficult to pull out of a dark perspective or a heavy perspective. So a long spine free from strain, and not just when you're wanting to access a better energy, all the time. Start to pay attention to your spinal position. Encourage, in a loving way, a long spine free from strain. Encourage softening your body in all different activities throughout the day, and encourage yourself to breathe fully and slowly. What's slowly? An average, really, really beneficial way to breathe is 6-second inhales and 6-second exhales through the nose. Are other breathing techniques beneficial? Yes, but not for the long part of the day. For the longer parts of the day, for the main way you breathe, the nose. The nose. Why? It moistens the air and it filters the air, which is very important. If you want to learn more about this importance of nose breathing, you can read James Nestor's book, Breathe, from a few years back, and he unpacks the science behind it. If you're just a mouth breather, you're really messing with your heart rate variability and your heart's long-term health and so many other systems of the body. And they did tests on themselves and interacted with a lot of research, so you can look that up for yourself. So here we are exploring being at the threshold of change. Being at the threshold of change, one of the hallmarks is, I don't know what to do, or I don't know what's going on, or I don't know the right way. This is when you sit down or become still. Elongate your spine. Follow the breath. Feel the sensations of breathing. There's 3 main places you can track, and you can do this right now, and you'll find it actually slows the thinking stream down, which makes it easier to access intuition, clarity. So there are 3 main places to feel breath. You can feel breath at the tip of the nose. It's kind of like a fuzzy, feathery sensation. Very soft, but it's there and you can feel it. So check in with that now. Then, excuse me, there's the breath as it moves across the back of the throat. It's going to feel cooler as it comes in and warmer as it goes out. You can just feel that. You don't need to describe it to yourself. Feel the sensation. And then the expansion and release of the rib cage. There's an instrument called an accordion. Some of you are familiar with it. It's like a squeeze box that can make music, but it's like a bellows. You know, there's a bellows that you can open and close to send air to get a fire to grow in your fireplace. So an accordion is like this, only it's directing air through making musical notes. So your lungs, your rib cage is a lot like an accordion. The ribs expand as you get full breathing, which is really important for dissolving the old remnants of stored tension like anxiety in between the ribs and the intercostal muscles. So full breathing, just as a regular practice, is a very powerful hygiene for being free more of the time. The more we're practicing these simple tools consistently, then when there's a big change or an unexpected bumping into not knowing what to do or how to perceive something, we're more resourced. We're more resourced. We're more grounded. And we're more willing to trust not knowing. You see, if we always know in the mind, we're referring to the past. And if we're only referring to the past, it's like walking in circles. We're not really going anywhere new. Now, if you like that, keep doing what you're doing. But most of you, I imagine, if you've gotten this far in the video, are interested in growing and evolving, stepping into greater and greater wholeness that you feel you're embodying, and making a difference in this world by being your best, and being your best with all beings, not just the ones that you call your close loved ones or your favorites. Treating everyone with great love and respect becomes natural when we're resourced. When we're resourced, we're not coming from our historical tension. When we're resourced, we're coming from flow. More likely to be coming from compassion, which is love without a story. So, this is a long lead in to coming back to now you personally, when you hit a threshold of not knowing what to do. What to do? Well, I'll share with you some of my tools, and you can see if you want to add them to your tool basket. So you've got softening, you've got deep breathing, slow exhales, and you've got letting go of tension like you're setting down a heavy burden as you exhale each time, and you've got spinal position, having a long spine free from strain. So what are the other tools? Well, asking yourself good questions in the moment that something's arising that you're uncertain about. What are good questions? What are good questions? Do I need to know this right now? Do I need certainty right now? The ordinary thinking mind, the conceptual mind, is likely, regularly, consistently hunting for certainty, safety, and security, or what it imagines adds up to safety and security. I can see that in myself. I can see it on the regular. However, if we're just going based on the ordinary conceptual mind's search for certainty, safety, and security, we may not be getting more of those things. We actually may be getting more things that stimulate the tension that ruffles our feathers. Why? Well, nobody's doing it to us. Just consider that the profound nature of consciousness itself, the consciousness, the force, the energy power that creates worlds, that grows grass, makes hummingbirds look different from cats and dogs, breathes your body, beats your heart without you having to think about it, that this force is everywhere. It's around your body, it's in your body, it's in the trees outside your window, it's vibrating in the molecules of your floor and your ceiling. It has a supreme intelligence. When we are in alignment with this supreme intelligence, we feel like we're in flow. Our mood is more expanded. We have greater clarity and access to intuition. When we're somehow out of alignment with our best flow with the universe, we feel pain, we feel emotional angst, we feel upset, and so on. This is the innate GPS that we have, that we walk around with. And as we get more familiar with it, rather than taking uncomfortable body sensations and making them mean that something is wrong and something terrible is going to happen, we can take these sensations to mean, let me slow down, lengthen my spine, soften my body, deepen my breath, do this for 5 to 10 minutes before even asking myself good questions, and then look to see where can I refine being in alignment. Alignment with my best self, alignment with the flow of life. For example, this is a very, very simple example. You're going on a journey. At this recording, I'm getting ready to go on a journey to Europe again. And I have no control over the weather patterns. In fact, it's winter there. So it could snow, it could rain. on a day when I maybe want to go out and explore and walk around. So I can come into harmony with the fact that whatever the weather is the way that it is, or I can fight it, be upset about it, complain to myself about it, complain to others, bring people down, spread really heavy, chaotic energy. Or I can come into harmony with it and get really curious. Do I want to bring that rain poncho out and just go out and walk anyway and be really covered up, and maybe my feet will get a little wet, but I can dry them later and have a new experience? Do a rain meditation. Or do I want to use that information of it's raining or snowing to guide me? Maybe I end up going to an art gallery that I thought about but forgot about, and then I end up meeting some incredible people who invite me to dinner, who have resources for a project that I'm working on. And they're in a foreign country and I never expected to meet them, but somehow by getting in alignment with the flow of life and trusting, not knowing, and doing new things, suddenly I have all these new resources for an important project that ends up helping a lot of people. As an example, take a deep breath. Let go like you're setting down a heavy burden from your whole body as you exhale. Inhale deeply. Let go on the exhale. So what are some other questions you can ask yourself once you've done enough breathing that you can feel your body is softer and your mind is more spacious and available to move from ordinary conceptual thinking to contemplation and being receptive to intuitive guidance? Other questions might be, what is it that I truly want? Often what we think we want is actually a strategy to get something else. It's not actually our hoped for outcome. We may say, I want a relationship, but what we really want is intimacy. We may say, what I really want is to go to the gym every day, but what we really want is to feel healthy, vital, and fit. So often, without realizing it, especially if we're tense, we confuse what we imagine will be strategies to get us what we want with the outcome of what we want. In my observation of lots of people and taking lots of people through the work of so-called manifestation and more, and myself as well, what we truly want usually ends up being a feeling. That's what we want. We want X because it's going to make us feel Y. We want Z because it's going to make us feel F. Do you see what I'm saying? We want a feeling, whether that's feeling vital and healthy, whether that's feeling joyful, whether that's feeling content, whether that's experiencing profound fulfillment, whether that's love or compassion. So we can check in, what's the feeling I'm wanting from this event, circumstance, person, or place that seems to be a little bit uncertain or a lot uncertain at this moment? So let's just say it's love. Oh, well, if I get to go there and be with those people, then I'll feel love. You're not dependent. Please really hear this freshly for yourself. You're not dependent on any person, place, or circumstance for any feeling. The feelings and all the possible feelings are accessible to you wherever you are, whenever you are, without changing your circumstances. It just takes practice, consistent practice over time. So you can feel love without having somebody come into your house. You could be sitting there alone and tune into the feeling of love. Then when you go out walking, you're still tuning into this feeling of love for no reason, just other than feeling the feeling of love. And you notice that as you're walking down the street, people are responding to you differently. People are actually returning your smile. People are looking you in the eye. People are saying, have a good day. The feeling comes before the manifestation. So when we're confused, when we're at a threshold of change and we're wondering if everything's falling apart, and we're able to resource ourselves with breath, softening, long spine, and open, spacious awareness, then we find out through our good questions to ourselves what feeling it is we want. We step into the feeling, and as we're practicing the feeling and running it through our whole body and the space around our body, independent of circumstances. Then we start to get intuitive prompts. Call so-and-so. Go to that cafe. Go to this art gallery. Turn left here. Go that way. We are always in the zone of we could get intuitive prompts about anything. But if we're blocked off, if we're pinched off, like pinching a hose, a garden hose, the water's not going to flow. There's still water there. It's turned on at the source, but it's not flowing through the hose. Why? Because it's pinched off. We do that all the time with ourselves. So as we use our tools to open our body and awareness, and we're practicing our chosen feeling, we naturally connect to information and guidance that's all around. Remember, everything is actually connected to everything throughout the field of existence. You can call that quantum mechanics, you can call that Fred for all I care, but the reality is everything is connected to everything. That's why it's possible that when you and I are practicing coherent feelings consistently, we are connecting to anything that can support that in the field of all of existence. Somebody can literally come knocking on the door. I have had several experiences just this week alone of thinking, gosh, it would be beneficial if I could have such and such before I leave for Europe. I walk into the gym, somebody I haven't seen in weeks walks up to me and hands me one of these items as a gift. Somebody else gave me an item I needed 4 days ago. Neither one of them knew that I needed it or wanted it. And I had been deepening my practice of resourcing myself and practicing my chosen feeling regardless of what my conceptual mind is saying about the world, the news, election cycles, and so on, in the midst of healing from a really intense viral infection in my chest and sinuses and having a really, really intense back pain. I'm adding that because sometimes it can be really difficult without a lot of training when we're in pain or not well to stick with these key practices. But they always matter and they always make a difference, and they actually expedite the healing of the body. And as we're practicing coherent feelings like love, joy, compassion, two things that are really, really valuable get to happen. One, we have an easier time digesting, finding pockets of tension that we haven't gotten intimate with and digesting them with ease and grace rather than collapsing into them. And two, we emanate for everyone we're connected to throughout really the whole field of humanity, a new option. An option of coherency, an option of grace, an option of flow. And the more of us that are doing this, the stronger it gets exponentially. People will want to know what you're doing when they see you thriving. They will ask. And you can just share simple tools. I'm working with my spinal position, my breathing, softening my body all day long and practicing a chosen feeling without pushing anything away or grasping at anything. Oh, how do you do that? Well, let me just show you. It's a really simple breath, or you can turn them onto this YouTube video or one of my others. So I think I've said a lot, and I don't want to overwhelm you with too many words. What I really care about is that you take what works from this video and you put it into practice consistently. Consistently. Not just for your own sake, but because you actually are offering upliftment to the world. Thank you for your practice. If you want to go deeper into this work that I'm talking about, I created a course called the Thriving Life Blueprint. Many people have been through it, and it goes through how to do many of these practices, including how to deal with shadow elements or parts of ourselves that we've walled off that are tense and whatnot, how to do that work with what I call the Soma Sessions work. It talks about and teaches about how to bring something from an inspiration of an idea into actual existence and what to do when you get stuck along the way. And then it has deeper spiritual aspects. There's empowered mantra practice, there's guided meditations, there's ways to breathe. So that's called the Thriving Life Blueprint. I'm going to put a link for that below this video so you can click it and check it out for yourself. And once you own that course, you're going to want to do it more than once. And you'll be able to because you'll have the recordings for life. Okay. May the fruits of our inner work, all of us, uplift all beings as well as the earth. May we be happy. May we be well. And may we feel thoroughly loved. I'll see you soon.